Start soon. Okay. What's up, you guys? This is Shamika with Dear Shamika, and I have Kenneth Coleman with me today. So he was on a previous podcast where we talked about online dating, but he's joining us again to talk about divorce. He's one of those people that has went through a marriage, it did not work out, and he's here to tell his story. But before we get started with that, we're going to ask you to talk more about your business.
Well, I mean, I started a podcast like you. You have been my inspiration, a great inspiration for me. It's called the Let's Talk About It podcast, where men and women can have uncomfortable conversations, but in a safe platform where we listen to understand and then make the necessary changes after that. So
Mhm,
you can check it out on all streaming platforms, and I
mhm.
look forward to having you on it one day soon.
Absolutely. And you guys, everything that we are doing is about helping and healing. We know that there are a lot of situations and a lot of things going on within our community, and a lot of people are hurting, they're sad, they're bitter, and they're frustrated. And sadly, a lot of people feel that they don't have anyone that they can connect with. They feel like they don't have anyone that understands their situation. So, what we're trying to do is highlight some serious issues that are going on in our community and try to help people with how to deal with those issues. So, with that being said, we're going to get straight into it. Kenneth, so how old are you?
On a good day, I'm 40 years old. Today is a good day.
How old are you on a bad day?
Depending on who I'm talking to, 31, 31 and a half.
Okay. And also, do you have any kids?
Yeah, I got two girls, a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Ooh, that's a handful right there.
Amen, amen.
And how old were you when you decided to get married?
I was 27 years old.
Okay, that's kind of a normal range in my opinion for individuals to get married. And what made you decide to marry the person that you did marry? We want details.
When I was in the moment, I thought I just thought life goes in a certain type of way. You know,
Mhm,
you date, you have fun in your 20s, and then you want substance and you want to start settling down towards that 30-ish year.
mhm,
Um, and so I thought let me take that back. I met a wonderful young lady, and we got married, and in my mind, I wanted to live that happily ever after. Um, so I went ahead and made that move.
mhm. Okay, so what about her made you say this is the one? What
Um,
characteristics did she possess that made you feel like this is it? Was it more so I'm just getting older and I'm just gonna go ahead and get married? Or was it one of those gut feelings, like I feel it in my spirit that this is the one? And if it was one of those gut feelings, what were the indications that this is my wife?
Now I don't know how do you want to go with this because I got the hindsight and then I got the after the healing process outlook on it.
Let's
Um,
do both.
so when I was in the midst of it, um, you want to settle down. So I thought that she was the best woman for me, at that time to settle down. I thought that, she was, she was supportive. Let me not, I don't want to seem like I'm just discrediting her any
No
type of way.
worries.
So,
This is
um,
after divorce. It's a reason you got a divorce, so it's no discredit. Sometimes things don't work out, but in your case, you're telling your truth. It's not to discredit her. We understand.
right. I just wanted to throw it out. But, you look for, and in the moment, I looked for what I thought that was a value in that moment. So I thought that support, um, I thought that she was the best that could really just had it together. Like we could mesh well, or we could be compatible to each other. I thought we had some of the same goals and was heading in the same trajectory or direction. and could, in my mind, live that happily ever after life. We
Mhm.
laughed together, we talked together, we was able to, go to concerts, have fun, trip, kick it, and always and be serious also about when it was needed to. So I
Mhm.
just thought we were compatible. Um,
Okay. Okay. So could you give some examples of how you felt your goals aligned and how you felt like you guys were compatible?
um, I mean, in the moment, I just the goals were, and I just be honest, mine were kind of, how can I put it? I just wanted, I guess I wanted what my parents had.
Mhm.
You had that great marriage of, things looked great. Um, you saw what they were able to accomplish together. As far as my parents were, they worked for hospitals, but they also were about their business. They had their own companies. They were thriving, just in all aspects. And I was just like, I want that. Like, I want that magic potion.
Mhm.
So to go into details as far as the goals, it wasn't anything that was just too heavy though. You know,
Mhm.
it was just, I want to be a wife. I want to be a husband. I may want a couple kids. We want to be successful with a nice bank account, a house, and super, like superficial things like that.
Mhm.
So
So
to me,
you
yeah, in the moment, it
so
wasn't anything that was just too deep
mhm.
as far as the
Oh, so
goals
what you're
lining up.
saying is it makes sense to me. What you're saying is you guys had the same basic goals of what we want in a marriage, but not necessarily the same goals individually. Like, I want to, this is my plan for us, and this is where I see myself within the next 5 years type deal. It was just basic. I want to have a family with kids and a house, things like that.
Right, right.
So that brings me to my next question, which I didn't. I guess I'm kind of going with the flow. What is there a big age gap in between you and your ex-wife?
Not a big age gap, but it's only about 5 years, or
Okay,
yeah,
so
four or
she
five
was
years. So it wasn't that big.
when you married her. How old was she?
I was 27, so she had to be about what 20? What? Man, was 23? Goodness gracious! Yeah, 23, 22. Yeah, hamburger.
Do you feel like the age kind of played a role in maybe her not holding up to what you thought you wanted? Do you feel like maybe she just needed to grow as an individual, being that you were 27, closer to 30, and she was 21,
Uh,
22?
yeah, I think that may have played a part, but I think the biggest thing that played a part is I made a decision when I was broken.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was broken, that tainted my vision, that tainted my sight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a different perspective on life when you're healed versus when you're broken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you make certain changes. So I think that was the biggest thing. Me
Okay.
making a decision when I was broken.
So it had nothing, you don't feel like age had anything to do with anything, correct?
I think it had something to do with it, but I think
Mm-hmm.
the bigger the bigger problem or issue was my brokenness in that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long did you date her before you decided, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and put a ring on it?
Probably I had known her for maybe 2 or 3 years before. Maybe we started dating, and then so we, known each other for 2 or 3 years, and then maybe we dated for like 8 months or something, 6 months.
So pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We talk about, and this is also something that I'm coming up with. So we also talk about in one of my shows, um, pretty privileged. Do you feel her looks had something to do with you kind of go ahead and being like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and marry her, or do you just feel like it was just her character that made you go ahead and? get married to her?
It was definitely who she was and her character because
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't my type,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think that was a added issue that happened in the relationship and marriage. That was one of the downfalls.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she wasn't my type. I wasn't, dating women like that. I mean, let me tell you this. Let me just say this. She was a plus size woman, and
Mm-hmm.
I was not interested in dating plus size women before her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so she knew that I wasn't, but then we started dating, and I think that was something that it was hard for her to get over, like that I chose her.
Wow. And what do you consider plus size so the viewers can kind of get an understanding of what plus size is to you?
Um,
Because different people think plus size is different things.
yes, I think maybe a 12 and up, I guess. I don't know.
Size 12?
I don't know. Don't come
No,
down.
it's you. Your truth. Don't feel bad. Whatever you say is you know what I mean. If you feel size 12, and to be fair to you, you're a small guy, so I get it. You know what I mean? I
But
get
and
it. So
when
you
I
say what I'm
say yeah, when I say plus size, like I guess for like with her, I mean she was just I mean she was nicely shaped. So
saying.
I mean I don't want to say the wrong thing. So yeah, pray
Still
my
got
sins in the Lord.
nice figure. I even play with you. As long as you're shapely, okay. Um, now we're about to get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation. So you guys dated for 8 months, and then got married. How long were you actually married?
We were married, I think maybe 6 years.
Oh, okay. That's a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
So did things change within that 6 years, or was it that you outgrew the love, or what happened? Because 6 years is a long time to be married and to decide to get a divorce.
Yeah, it was like I said before, like I was broken when I got married. And so one of the one of my biggest things is that I had to come into the realization like what is life defined for Kenneth, not
Mm-hmm.
how other people are defining it and want me to live. So once I went through that process of the healing process, like my mental just changed as far as like how I wanted to be married, how I looked at friendships, my family, and my life direction and where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're healed, you make different decisions. Like you just move, you talk, you walk, you just move in a different way. And
Mm-hmm.
so the way that we were moving previously in a marriage, I was like, this ain't this ain't what I want. Like I need happiness. I want to be joy. Like when I come home, I need that to be my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, we had conversations and I was just like, you know, I want to be happy. Like I exhausted a lot of possibilities, but for me, I was just in a marriage with someone who did not value, appreciate, and respect me. And when I
Mm-hmm.
realized that she wasn't going to change, I had two options. Either I stay and be miserable and become a statistic, or I go move on from the situation and, you know, be happy or, enjoy this thing called life.
Mm-hmm. Could you provide the viewers with a situation as to where you feel like, okay, I'm not being appreciated, I'm not being valued? And the reason I asked you to do this is because there's a lot of other people in marriages that may not be happy and may not be valued, or it may be somebody who's went through a divorce and doesn't have anyone that they can connect with, or they may have somebody saying, "Man, you got it good. Don't get a divorce."
Right,
So,
right.
what when you identified you were unhappy and unappreciated? What did that look like?
I think some of the signs for me is that if your significant other, in this case, my wife was telling me, you're the best thing since sliced bread. I appreciate you, I value you, but the actions are not matching up with that. So we had an issue of, we were not having sex.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to her and I say, "Hey, baby, what's going on? We not having sex. Like, is there anything I could do to spice it up, or can I help the situation?" And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Well, I'm a newly mother, and I don't, it's throwing me off." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let me take more responsibility with the girls, or the girl at that time. We had one. I was like, let me
Mm-hmm.
take more responsibility. So the issue still happened. It comes up again. I'm like, okay, well, I took care of the girl. What else? Well, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning. So let me handle all these responsibilities. And I'm like, I'm eliminating all your excuses and reasons for not having sex. And the
Mm-hmm.
issue is still happening. So that just shows me like you don't value me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm eliminating everything you're saying is wrong for you not to want to be in the mood and we're still not doing it, then I have to say that's something about me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one aspect. But the biggest aspect is um, when you tell your mate how you want to be treated, and you see them treating everyone else outside of the household like you want to be treated.
So you know they're capable of doing it, they just not doing it with you.
Right, because they see no value. So if I'm treating my mother or my father the way my mate is telling me I want to be treated, you're showing me, yeah, you could do it. You want to do it. You do it to people that you value.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I'm working my fingers to the bone trying to show you and prove to you I'm all the man that you need, and you treated me like crap. Like, nah, we can't be doing that.
Wow. And how long did this behavior, because you guys were married 6 years, as far as her undervaluing you, how long did that occur before you were like, you know what, I'm ready for a divorce?
I think it's the seed was planted, I think maybe in year three of the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm big on I want to exhaust all possibilities. So we had to go to counseling, formal, informal, like talking to other couples, me trying to talk to people to get my mind right, to do extra things, or if I'm tripping, as far as my expectations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to exhaust all possibilities, to do what needed to be done.
Okay.
So yeah,
That
so in year three.
okay. And well, you already answered what did you do, if anything, to prevent the divorce? Like you mentioned, you took her load off of her. So anything that she mentioned that prevented her from doing what you wanted her to do with intimacy, you took those loads off her hands. So you did try to prevent the divorce from happening before it happened. Do you regret getting a divorce? Do either
No,
of you? Do either of you? I'm sorry. Do either of you regret getting a divorce? So does she? Did she ever regret it?
I I don't want to speak for her, but I will say that when I don't regret it. I It was the best decision for me that I made.
Mm-hmm.
But at different times, I felt like she wanted to try to give it a go, um,
Mm-hmm. With
and
Starbucks.
see if see if something could, work out or whatever. But I didn't regret not one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, and I just had to be honest about it. Like when I was in my marriage, I was miserable, and
Mm.
it was like I had a asthma attack. Like, and anybody
Oh
who know
wow.
who has asthma, like it's hard for you to do normal things when you're wheezing. Like your chest, your
Mm-hmm.
lungs are compounding. And so when I got to the point that I was just said I was going to divorce and leave the situation, like it was like somebody gave me a rescue inhaler and said breathe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Wow.
from that moment I knew like it was the right decision.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah, yeah. And the only disappointing part from getting a divorce is not waking up to my girls every morning.
Mm,
Like that was the thing that I had to really make sure I was cool with this decision because with me, I'm an extremist. Like I'm either all in or I'm all out. It's no middle. So I'm the type of person like if I shut down, if I cut off, like I know it's gonna be almost impossible to get me back. So I know when I make a decision, like I overanalyze it and I put everything into it to say this is the right or wrong decision, and I just got to live with it.
mhm, mhm. Wow. But that definitely that's powerful because you actually want to be in your kids' life, so that speaks volume. So, what makes you a good like? What characteristics do you have that make you a good husband?
I think, um, I think being in tune with your wife, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Um,
Mhm,
like I am the type of person like in my mind, like I want to be so in tune with my woman, with my wife that I can hear in the tone of her voice if she having a bad day. And
mm,
then if I hear it, then I'm doing something to make it make it better. Or when she's replying to a text, I know I'm so in tune with her. I know what's going on with it. If she needs to pick me up or a call or a FaceTime appointment or some flowers at her job, like I think that being in tune with your partner is imperative. And I
mhm,
think being open to change. Like I am big on just because we started off this way, don't mean we gotta finish this way.
mhm,
We grow as individuals, so we got to grow together, and we got to
mhm,
change it up. We got to be spontaneous, but those two things are important. And I think being healed, like being healed, would make you a good husband because you can listen when it's time to listen. If that
mhm,
makes sense. So
mm.
those are just a few things.
Okay, so we talk about you. How did as far as what you look for in a woman, what do you look for now versus what you looked for in the past?
In the past, I was I was focused on somebody choosing me
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't really have value in myself. So I was looking for somebody who saw value in me and said, "I'm choosing you."
Mm-hmm.
So now when I date, you know, I'm I want to date somebody who compliments me. Like if I know that, number one, if I know that I'm healed and ready to love somebody with my whole heart, like that's something that I look for because I don't want to love anybody again. And I'm not talking about the marriage. I'm just talking about the relationship aspect with what's left of their heart, like or a piece of their heart. Like I want somebody who invested in themselves to go heal from their past and ready to move on or in that healing process. You ain't got to be all the way there because I ain't there. But I think that's important. And there's some definitions that have changed also now, like the way that I view love, the way that I view support, and the way that I view respect. Um, are totally different now, and it just has a whole nother meaning to it.
How was it in the past? How was love, support, and respect defined in the past versus how you define them now?
Love was more defined in as far as like a feeling. You know, my grandma used to tell me, find somebody who you got butterflies for, and I acted on that, and I thought butterfly, I was reacting off that, and I met somebody who I thought was butterflies, but it was really trapped gas, and it messed me up.
God.
So it was more of a feeling, but how I view love now is like it's an action word. It's a consistent sacrifice, that you make
Mm,
for somebody that you care about. Um, and then the respect and support. I'm just big on like somebody speaking life into you. And
Mm-hmm.
here's one thing that I always remember. Like I was telling somebody that I was dating. They were like, "Well, when I do something to you, I don't mind you going off on me, because I deserve it." And I was like, "It's easy to do that," but I said, even when I'm my most maddest at you, I still view you as a priceless gem. So
Mm-hmm.
even in the worst of times, I still not gonna do anything to show this person that I devalue them. Like I keep
Mm-hmm.
that in mind. So the way that I talk to you, the way that I treat you, even when I'm mad, I still got to treat you with care, like I cherish you, like I honor you, and I want that. Like I look at that also, and I know that's a learned behavior, but that's just a boundary and expectation that I want and need.
Yeah. And rightfully so. You've been through a lot, so you get to choose. You don't have to chase butterflies, but you can have both. You can have it all, but double checking for it after the butterflies. And they say we're in a generation that chases the spark, and then once the spark is gone, we don't know how to react. We just used to that instant gratification of, oh, I like this person, but then once it dies down, it's like I don't want to deal with them. Let me move on and find somebody else that can give me that spark.
Yeah,
Would you?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we just live in a society that has too many options, so
Hmm. Yeah.
we can't really focus on what's in front of us because we looking to the left, right, up, down, swiping right, and all that. So,
Hmm. Hmm. With that being said, would you be open to getting married in the future?
definitely, I'm a hopeless romantic, and yeah, that is a goal. I do want to get married again,
Hmm.
no
Okay.
questions about it.
Did your approach, so your approach to dating, has it changed?
Yeah, yeah, because I'm like now I'm more mature, I'm more intentional, as far as like what I want, what I'm looking for, and realizing that um, it's things that I don't want to settle for, non-negotiables. Um,
Hmm.
and the biggest thing is that like I'm honest, like upfront. I believe in putting my cards on the table and letting the person say if they want to deal with this or not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because and then because my last point on that question is that it don't take a person long to know what they really want
Hmm.
when you're in a certain space. Like so I can tell from a conversation with a woman in 20 minutes like what category she gonna be put in. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So eh, we ain't got time to play. Like let's go.
Wow. And also, so we are going to wrap this thing on up. What advice would you have for someone who is thinking about getting married? Or also, what advice would you have for someone who is getting out of a marriage?
I'll go with the easier one first. If I had some advice for someone getting married, I would say research the responsibility that a husband and wife has
Mm,
and see if you're able to do that on your worst day. And if you're able
wow.
to do those responsibilities on your worst day, then you might be ready for marriage.
Mm,
But if you're not, then you might not want to do it. The advice that I would give somebody that is going through a divorce, I would say heal first,
mm,
because when I went through my separation, I tried to date again. And when I went and started dating again, I dated someone who was worse than what I left in my marriage.
wow.
I'll say that again.
Why?
You said, say that again?
I said, why do you feel that is that you were worse?
because I wasn't healed. And see, when a lot of times when you get out of a relationship and a marriage, you go run to what you didn't have in your marriage or your previous relationship. And so just because they have what you didn't have from your previous relationship, they may not have no substance after that. So I was still broken when I left left my marriage. And then I was just trying to fulfill a need because I thought
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't think that I was worthy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I say this, and I could I say the PG version of it, but when you get into a relationship and a person treats you as you're not anything, when you're done with it, you want to make someone make you feel like you something.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a healthy behavior, but it's a behavior that I understand because a lot of times we do it subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't heal first, a lot of times we make bad decisions and they become permanent because we can't do nothing after we make those decisions. So
Mm.
I'm thankful that my decision it didn't leave me in a permanent state. I was able to get out of it, recognize what was going on, get healed, and then move on from there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that heal, go heal. Like take it's a long process, it's a lonely process, but go heal so you can go after the desires of your heart.
Mm. And how long did it take? I promise this is the last question. How
Go for it.
long after your divorce did it take you to fully heal? Or are you still on this journey? Do you feel you're fully healed right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely healed. Like I went on a sabbatical for about 8 months that I
Mm-hmm.
just was to myself. I went to
Mm-hmm.
counseling. I went out by myself and I went to go heal. I healed as a man, as a father, as a significant other, and then I was just able to go from there. So it took 8 months, and I was dedicated with that thing. I didn't date anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. I just stayed to myself because I was on a mission. Like I knew my end goal and what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that is definitely awesome. We're wrapping this thing on up. And Kenneth, one more time, give the viewers the name of your podcast again so that they can tune into you as well.
It is the Let's Talk About It podcast. We are on Anchor, Apple, all that good stuff. So holla at
Mhm.
me.
And let's talk about it. What are we talking about on Let's Talk About It?
We are talking about uncomfortable conversations. We just wrapped the episode up as far as triggers, scars, wounds, and marks. Just how do
Mhm.
we deal with those? So we got some uncomfortable conversations, but it is a
Listen.
healthy environment, and y'all enjoy.
Okay, thank you guys for tuning in. We're wrapping this thing on up on Dear Shamika, the podcast, and thank you all for listening.